Everything you'll ever do in life starts in the mind. Success doesn't begin with talent, connections, or a bank account. It begins with your thinking. If you want to win in life, you've got to first win the quiet war inside your own head. Your thoughts are like seeds. Every single day you're planting. Some seeds are thoughts of belief, discipline, gratitude, and growth. Others are doubts, fears, excuses, and negativity. The harvest always reflects the seeds. You see, the mind is a battleground. And the truth is, most people lose the fight before they even start. They walk into opportunities already defeated by their own voice. They don't need critics. They've got one living rent-free in their mind. Winning begins with awareness. Are you feeding your mind or poisoning it? Are you programming it for victory or surrender? Watch your inputs, your environment, your conversations, your inner dialogue. These shape the climate of your thoughts, and your thoughts shape your destiny. Every achiever you admire, no matter what they do, had to fight that inner war. They had to silence the voice that said, "Ends you can't." They had to reject the idea that their past was a prison and replace it with the truth that their mind is a gate to the future. Let me remind you, your mind doesn't care what you feed it. It will accept fear just as quickly as faith. But one produces paralysis, the other progress. So feed it well. Read what builds you. Listen to people who challenge you. Reflect on truth, not just trends. Discipline is the bridge between the internal battle and external success. The person who learns to master their thoughts becomes the master of their future. You can't control every thought that enters your mind, but you can control which ones you entertain. If you let a lie sit long enough, it becomes truth in your eyes. But if you replace it with vision, truth, and clarity, you win. Now here's the real kicker. Life doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you believe. That belief starts in the battlefield of the mind. If you want to live a life of significance, you have to start building it where no one else sees, in your internal world. People don't fail from the outside in, they fail from the inside out. They sabotage opportunity because they haven't upgraded their inner software. They haven't cleaned out the mental clutter. They're still running on yesterday's fears and last year's mistakes. But not you. Not if you decide right now to take back control of that battlefield. Don't let the past write the next chapter. Don't let worry write your to-do list. Start programming your mind with discipline, with focus, with purpose. The battle in your mind is the one that decides all the rest. Win it, and everything else begins to shift. Your mind is the first arena of victory. Win there, and you'll win everywhere else. It's that simple and that challenging. You can't build a skyscraper on a shaky foundation, and you can't build a life of significance on a mind that's always at war with itself. Most people try to win in the outer world without first doing the work in the inner one. That's like trying to drive a car with a broken engine. Looks great on the outside, but it's not going anywhere. Everything begins with thought. Every success, every failure, every innovation, every mistake, it all starts in the mind. Before you can earn more, grow more, become more, you've got to think more clearly. You've got to straighten out the internal conversation. Because here's the truth. Life doesn't respond to your wishes, it responds to your mindset. Think about it. The person who says, I can't, and the person who says, I can, are both right, because they're both moving according to what they believe. One is defeated before he starts. The other is already halfway there. Not because of talent, but because of thought. If you want to live differently, you've got to think differently. But winning the mind battle doesn't happen by accident. It takes intention. You have to confront the lies that have taken root. Those old phrases like, I'm not good enough, or I always mess things up, or it's too late for me. Those aren't just passing thoughts. If left unchecked, they become beliefs. And beliefs are powerful. They shape decisions, habits, relationships, even your destiny. That's why the first place to clean up is your thinking. Not your bank account, not your relationships, not your resume. Start with your mindset. Ask yourself, what's been living in my head rent-free that no longer serves me? Get rid of it. Because here's the deal. If you don't run your mind will run you. And usually it will take you places you don't want to go. The good news is you can rewire it. You can retrain your thoughts the way a gardener trains a vine, slowly, with direction. Read what uplifts. Listen to what teaches. Surround yourself with people who stretch you, not shrink you. Speak truth, even when it feels awkward. Think about what you think about and ask, is this helping me or hurting me? You don't have to believe every thought that pops into your head. Just because it visits doesn't mean it deserves a seat at the table. The real winners in life are those who have learned to filter their thoughts. They don't let fear, bitterness, or doubt take root. They catch those invaders early and replace them with vision, courage, and responsibility. Because your mind is a battlefield, and you don't win wars by being passive. You win by showing up daily. You win by choosing what gets your focus. You win by feeding your mind what strengthens it, not what weakens it. Most people are trying to change their circumstances, but they're still carrying around a defeated mindset, and they wonder why nothing sticks. It's like planting a garden in poisoned soil. Start small. Speak a better word over yourself each morning. Write down a goal that scares you. Reflect on what you're learning. Stay accountable to someone who won't let you slip back into old patterns. Don't underestimate the power of that little voice in your head. It's either building your future or stealing it, one thought at a time. And when you win that battle, when you finally stop waiting for life to change and instead change how you see life, something amazing happens. Everything else starts to shift. The opportunities were there all along. The doors were always unlocked. You just couldn't see them because your vision was clouded. But now that your mind is clear, your direction is clear too. So win there first in your mind. Conquer that space. Rule over it like a wise king, not a scared servant. Because once you master that, everything else follows. The world bends to those who've already won the war within. That's the kind of victory that lasts. Every thought is a seed. What you plant determines your future harvest. That simple truth holds the secret to success, failure, growth, stagnation, joy, even regret. You can look at your life today and trace nearly everything back to a thought that was planted, watered, and given room to grow. The results didn't just appear, they were cultivated day by day, quietly and consistently. Just like in agriculture, you don't see the harvest right away. A farmer doesn't plant today and reap tomorrow. But he trusts the process. He knows that if the seed is good, the soil is ready, and the care is consistent, then growth is inevitable. The same principle applies to your thoughts. You can't think negatively for months and expect a positive life. You can't feed your mind doubt, fear, laziness, and blame and expect confidence, courage, discipline, and responsibility to magically show up. Thoughts are powerful. One thought, properly planted and nurtured, can transform an entire life. Think about the man who once thought, "What if I could do better?" That single thought, when acted upon, changed his direction. Or the woman who told herself, "Shane, I'm worth more than this," and then built a new future. It always starts small, like a seed. Now, what kind of seeds are you planting? Are you planting seeds of growth, like gratitude, perseverance, curiosity, and faith? Or are you planting seeds of decline, like bitterness, envy, fear, and excuses? Whatever you plant, you're going to harvest. And if you don't like the harvest you're reaping in your life right now, don't blame the field. Check the seeds. The danger is that seeds don't show their nature right away. You can plant a bitter thought and not feel its sting until months later. You can entertain a lazy idea and not see the consequences until doors begin to close. On the flip side, you can choose a thought of vision or discipline, and for a while it looks like nothing's happening. But beneath the surface, change is taking root. Keep watering it. Here's the key. You're always planting. Every conversation, every book, every social media post, every person you allow into your inner circle, they're all planting something. And the more passive you are with your mind, the more likely it is you're letting someone else do the planting for you. Choose what gets access to your garden, because if you're not intentional, weeds will grow. That's just how life works. Weeds don't need permission, they don't require planning, but fruitful crops do. You have to prepare the soil of your mind. You have to remove the rocks of resentment, pull up the weeds of worry, and fertilize it with truth, learning, and commitment. That's the real work of success. Not just showing up, but showing up with a prepared mind. You want a better life? Start planting better thoughts. Speak differently about your future. Stop rehearsing your limitations. Start rehearsing your potential. Write down ideas that stretch you. Read things that inspire you. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to grow. That's how you change the harvest. And don't be discouraged by the slow pace. Nature doesn't rush, but it never stops. Give your thoughts time. Be patient with your growth. Some seasons feel dry. Others feel full of storms. But it's in those very seasons that your roots go deeper. You're not just growing upward, you're growing inward. And that kind of growth produces a life that lasts. The harvest always comes. It doesn't lie. It won't flatter you. It won't apologize. It simply reflects the seeds you've planted. So if the results aren't what you want, don't get angry. Get better. Don't curse the field. Cultivate it. Don't envy someone else's garden. Tend to your own. Because when you take full responsibility for the seeds you're planting in your mind, everything changes. You stop blaming, you stop waiting, and you start becoming the kind of person who grows a harvest worth sharing. So plant well, think intentionally, speak wisely, and water daily. What you sow in thought, you will reap in life. That's the unshakable law. You don't need external critics if your inner voice is already tearing you down. That's the reality many people live with every day. Before anyone else says a word, their own mind has already given the verdict. Before the world says a no, they've already told themselves it's impossible. Long before the door is shut, they've convinced themselves they're not good enough to knock. Now, here's the truth. There will always be critics. People will question your dreams, doubt your motives, point out your flaws. That's just life. But the most dangerous voice you'll ever deal with isn't out there. It's the one inside. The one that whispers at night, you'll fail again. The one that shouts when opportunity comes in, you're not ready. That voice left unchallenged becomes your greatest enemy. And here's the worst part. It's familiar. You've heard it for years. It sounds like you. That makes it believable. But it's not truth. It's programming. It's a script written by past failures, harsh words from others, and your own misinterpretations. And unless you rewrite that script, it will play on repeat, robbing you of every breakthrough meant for you. Think about it. How many chances have you missed because your inner voice talked you out of it? How many relationships, promotions, ideas, and bold steps have been left on the shelf? Not because someone else said no, but because you did. That voice has too much authority in your life. And the worst part is, it often doesn't shout. It whispers just enough to make you hesitate. And hesitation kills more dreams than rejection ever will. Now, where does that voice come from? Sometimes it's old wounds. A teacher who doubted you. A parent who never encouraged you. A failure that felt final. And over time, you adopted the lie. You rehearsed it so often, it became truth in your eyes. But just because you've lived with that voice doesn't mean you have to keep listening. You see, no one wins the external battles of life without first confronting the internal ones. You've got to challenge that critic inside your head, not by shouting back, but by replacing the lie with truth. That inner voice says, it'll always mess things up. The truth says, you've failed before, but you've learned and grown. The inner voice says, teach, you're not smart. The truth says, you're capable of learning and growing every day. It's not about fake affirmations. It's about choosing a new internal narrative based on growth, not fear. You also have to be mindful of what fuels that voice. Garbage in, garbage out. If you're constantly feeding your mind negativity, news, complaints, toxic conversations, or mindless distractions, that voice gets stronger. But when you feed your mind with wisdom, learning, gratitude, and hope, that inner critic gets weaker. It's like starving a weed. It can't grow without what feeds it. Another thing to remember, silence doesn't mean peace. Just because you're not hearing the critic at this moment doesn't mean it's gone. It usually shows up when you're about to do something new, something risky, something that matters. That's when the volume rises. That's when the pressure builds. And that's exactly when you need to have your response ready. You can't fight thoughts with silence. You fight them with better thoughts. And here's a powerful practice. Speak out loud what you want your mind to believe. It might feel strange at first, but the spoken word has power. Say, I'm capable. Say, I've made progress. Say, this fear doesn't define me. Say it often enough and that inner voice will start to shift. Not overnight, but little by little. It's like steering a ship. It doesn't turn on a dime, but it turns. You'll still face outside criticism. That's part of life. But when your inner voice is aligned with truth, strength, and vision, the outside voices lose their power. When the voice inside says, I believe in you, the voices outside don't stand a chance. So work on that voice, reprogram it, protect it, train it, because that voice is either your prison or your passport. And if you can win that battle, you don't need to fear what anyone else says. The war is won in the mind long before it's won in the world. Don't let the loudest enemy be the one in your own head. You've got too much life to live for that. Discipline your thinking like you discipline your schedule. It pays compound interest. Most people understand time management. They use calendars, set alarms, write to-do lists. They're careful not to waste a day, a week, or a deadline. But what about thought management? What about the ideas, assumptions, worries, and attitudes that run through the mind every hour? The truth is, your schedule may look organized, but if your thinking is scattered, your life will still feel out of control. Your mind has a timetable too, and every moment you spend on thoughts that don't serve you is like throwing time out the window. People say they're too busy, but they're not short on time. They're short on focus. They're letting distractions, fears, and self-doubt take up space that should belong to vision, creativity, and purpose. Now imagine what happens when you apply the same kind of structure to your thoughts as you do to your schedule. Imagine taking 10 minutes a day to think intentionally about your goals, your progress, and your growth. Imagine taking control of your inner dialogue the same way you take control of a meeting or a project deadline. That's mental discipline. And that's where the real transformation begins. The world rewards clarity, not confusion. You don't get paid for the hours you work, you get paid for the value you bring. And value comes from strong, disciplined thinking. That means replacing emotional reaction with thoughtful response. It means catching yourself when your thoughts drift toward worry or bitterness and rerouting them back to gratitude and vision. Just like financial investments grow over time, so do mental habits. One disciplined thought won't change your life overnight, but repeated daily, it builds strength, stability, and certainty. That's the compound interest of disciplined thinking. You start to notice things others miss. You respond to challenges with calm while others panic. You become consistent where others are chaotic. That's not luck. It's mental structure built through years of quiet investment. Think about it. If you spent just 15 minutes a day feeding your mind with something nourishing, a powerful book, a reflective journal entry, a moment of silence to realign, you'd be investing over 90 hours into your mindset every year. That's 2 full work weeks. And that's without spending a dime. Just you, your thoughts, and your attention. Small investments with big returns. On the other hand, undisciplined thinking has its own cost. When you let negative thoughts run unchecked, they multiply. One doubt becomes 5. One delay becomes procrastination. One small fear becomes a wall that keeps you from stepping forward. And by the time you notice, the interest on that undisciplined thinking has compounded too, into missed opportunities, lost time, and low confidence. You see, success doesn't begin with a big moment. It begins with a small thought. The decision to believe in yourself, the decision to stay focused, the decision to take ownership. These are thoughts before they become actions, and they only come if you've trained your mind to stay sharp, just like a blade. Now let's be real. Discipline isn't always fun. It doesn't always feel good in the moment, but you're not doing it for today's feeling. You're doing it for tomorrow's freedom. When you have a disciplined mind, you're free from the constant storm of emotions that pull others in 10 directions. You're not controlled by circumstances. You're guided by intention. That kind of life, the kind that builds, lasts, and influences, starts with a simple commitment to think on purpose. Don't let your mind be the only thing in your life that goes unmanaged. Take back control. Sit down with your thoughts the same way you'd sit down with a weekly planner. Ask yourself what needs to go, what needs to stay, and what needs to grow. Track it, guard it, feed it, shape it, because your thoughts are creating your future right now. One thought at a time, 1 hour at a time, one habit at a time. The people who win aren't always the smartest or the fastest. They're the ones who've disciplined their thinking day after day, year after year. And over time, that mental discipline pays a return that nothing else can match. So treat your thoughts with the same seriousness you treat your time. Align them with your purpose. Clean them up when they drift. Build them with care. Because just like money in the bank, disciplined thinking compounds. And when it finally matures, you won't just be rich in results. You'll be rich in wisdom, peace, and clarity. Guard your mental diet. What you read, watch, and hear programs your outcomes. That's not just a catchy idea. It's a law of life. Just like your body reflects the food you eat, your mind reflects the content you consume. You can't feed your brain with junk and expect clarity, peace, or progress. The inputs always determine the output. We live in a time where information comes fast, loud, and nonstop. News alerts, social media scrolls, podcasts, YouTube videos, gossip, noise, it's all available 24/7. But just because it's available doesn't mean it's valuable. Not everything that enters your mind deserves to stay. Some things need to be rejected at the door. Your mind is fertile ground. Whatever gets planted there, if left long enough, grows. If you keep watching negativity, you'll start speaking it. If you keep listening to fear, you'll start walking in it. If you keep reading things that lower your standards will drop without you even noticing. The danger isn't that you're being brainwashed overnight. It's that you're being conditioned slowly. That's how people drift. Not in one dramatic moment, but over time. A little compromise in what they watch. A little laziness in what they read. A little numbness to the garbage they hear. Then one day they wake up, wondering why their energy is gone, why their vision is dull, why they feel stuck. It's not because they don't have potential. It's because they've been feeding their mind the wrong fuel. Think of your mental diet like this. Every book you read is a meal. Every conversation you have is a snack. Every movie, podcast, or song is either adding strength or stealing it. You become what you consistently consume. There's no avoiding it. Just like no one gets fit eating donuts all day, no one gets sharp thinking by binging on drama, comparison, or shallow distractions. Sure, the junk might taste good in the moment. It's entertaining, easy, quick, but it doesn't nourish you. And after a while, it clogs your thinking. It steals your edge. It creates confusion, not clarity. But here's the good news. You're in control of what you feed your mind. You can choose what books sit on your table. You can choose what voices you allow into your ears. You can decide to hit pause, delete, unfollow, or walk away. It's not about being rigid. It's about being responsible. You've got to ask yourself regularly, is this feeding my growth or draining it? Is this content making me wiser or just louder? Is this person challenging me to rise or keeping me comfortably average? Because if you don't ask those questions, the world will decide your mental diet for you. And most of what it serves is fast food for the mind, plenty of calories, no real value. Start small, choose one good book and commit to finishing it. Listen to one podcast that builds your thinking. Spend 5 minutes reflecting instead of 5 hours scrolling. Limit your intake of opinions that go nowhere and replace them with ideas that move you forward. It's not about perfection, it's about progress, and your mind will thank you. Now, this doesn't mean you avoid all entertainment or never relax. It means you stay intentional. Even a physical diet allows for some enjoyment, but the base is healthy. In the same way, let the foundation of your mental consumption be solid. Build it on truth, growth, creativity, and vision. Then enjoy the lighter stuff in moderation. The stronger your base, the easier it is to stay sharp when life throws distractions your way. And don't forget, people are part of your mental diet too. Conversations are powerful. Some people feed your fire, others pour water on it. Spend more time with those who stretch your thinking, who believe in your potential, who talk about ideas instead of just people. That environment alone can shift your outcomes. You can usually tell where someone's headed by what they consume daily. You can predict the quality of a person's life by the quality of their mental inputs. So if you want to change your life, start by changing your diet, your mental one. Read better, listen better, watch better, speak better. And your results will start catching up with your intention. The secret to high performance isn't just hustle, it's focus. And focus comes from a clean, clear, and disciplined mind. Feed it right, and it'll take you further than you imagined. Neglect it, and it'll cost you more than you're willing to pay. So guard it well. The quality of your mental diet is quietly deciding the quality of your life.